There is a particular kind of discomfort that doesn't have a name in most households. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't come with tears or a clear reason. It arrives quietly, in the middle of a good day, when everything is fine, when nothing is wrong, when life is actually, genuinely going well. And instead of feeling peace, you feel something else. A low hum of unease, a suspicion, a strange, creeping guilt, as if the goodness of the moment is borrowed time, and somewhere, somehow, you are going to have to pay for it. If you know this feeling, this video is for you. Not because something is broken inside you, but because that feeling, that specific, exhausting reflex of waiting for the other shoe to drop, is not random. It is not weakness. It is not pessimism. It is something your nervous system learned, very carefully, from the life it has already lived. Psychologists call one version of this anticipatory anxiety, but underneath that clinical term is something far more human. It is the story of a person who learned, somewhere along the way, that good things don't last. That peace is a prelude to disruption. That when things go quiet, it usually means the storm is only gathering, not gone, and so the mind does what it always does with patterns it has survived. It prepares. It braces, even when there is nothing to brace for. Think about what it means to grow up in a home where stability was conditional, where love was warm one day and withdrawn the next, where a good mood in the house felt fragile, like something you didn't want to touch too hard in case it shattered. Children in those environments don't learn that safety is a constant. They learn that safety is a season, and seasons always change. So they become watchers. They learn to read the room before they enter it. They learn to hold their happiness quietly, privately, the way you might cup a small flame in your hands on a windy day, not celebrating it, not showing it, just trying to keep it alive without drawing attention to it. That child grows up, but the nervous system does not forget. In adulthood, this can look like someone who downplays good news, someone who immediately thinks about what could go wrong the moment something goes right, someone who, when life finally settles into something resembling peace, finds that they cannot actually rest inside it. The peace feels like a waiting room, not a destination. And this is where the guilt comes in, because guilt is often just anxiety in disguise. When things are going well, the unconscious mind searches for a reason to explain why it doesn't feel safe. And guilt is a familiar room. It is the story that says, maybe I don't deserve this. Maybe I haven't earned this yet. Maybe if I enjoy it too much, something will come and take it back. The guilt becomes an anchor, not the kind that grounds you, but the kind that holds you just below the surface. You can see the light above, but you can't quite reach it. Here is the thing that most people don't say out loud. For a lot of people, the guilt and the anxiety are not actually about the present moment at all. They are about loyalty, unconscious, unspoken loyalty, to a version of yourself that had to struggle, to a family where suffering was the shared language, to relationships where your pain made you relatable and your happiness made you distant. When life gets good, something in you whispers, don't go too far from what you know. Don't leave the familiar room. Don't let yourself be happy in a way that separates you from the people you love, or the person you were, or the story you've always told about who you are. This is the midpoint, and it matters. The guilt you feel when things are going well is not a sign that you are ungrateful or self-destructive. It is a sign that your nervous system is still loyal to survival. It is protecting you the only way it knows how, by staying close to what is familiar, even when what is familiar is pain. That is not a flaw. That is intelligence. The kind that kept you functional when things were hard. But it is intelligence running on old information. Watch how this pattern moves through a life. In childhood, it looks like a kid who is quietly waiting for the argument to start, who eats dinner quickly, who is very good at being small and unnoticed during the good times, because they have learned that good times are where you gather your strength before the next difficult thing arrives. In adolescence, it turns inward. The young person begins to believe they are somehow responsible for managing the emotional weather of those around them. They become careful with their own happiness, because expressing it has sometimes felt like a disruption, like there wasn't room for it, like it made other people uncomfortable, or like it would somehow tempt fate. In early adulthood, this person often finds themselves most comfortable when they are working hard, struggling, striving, because striving feels safe. It justifies their existence. It gives them a reason to deserve the things they want. But rest, ease, receiving, those feel dangerous. Those feel like standing in an open field with no cover. And by the time they reach middle life, if nothing shifts, this person may look at a life that is objectively good and feel oddly hollow inside it. Not depressed, exactly. Just never quite landing, never quite letting the goodness in, always with one hand on the door, just in case. The nervous system, you see, runs on a program, and the program says, anticipate the threat. Stay ready. Happiness is a gap in the armor, and gaps are where you get hurt. But here is what neuroscience and psychology have found. Gently and repeatedly, the threat that the nervous system is anticipating is usually from the past. The brain is doing a very poor job of time-stamping its fears. It stores old wounds without a date, without a context, and it applies them to the present as if they are current. As if this moment, this good and quiet moment, is just as dangerous as the one that first taught you to be afraid. It isn't. And the path forward is not about forcing yourself to be grateful. It is not about convincing yourself to relax or counting your blessings or telling yourself that other people have it worse. The nervous system does not respond to logic delivered from the outside. It only begins to soften when it feels safe enough to question its own assumptions from the inside. That softening is slow. It happens in small moments. When you let a good day be a good day, without immediately looking for the catch. When you sit with a feeling of ease for just a few seconds longer than usual, not trying to fix it, not trying to explain it, just noticing that you are still here and still okay. When you let yourself receive a compliment, a kindness, a quiet afternoon, without immediately deflecting or diminishing it, it happens when you begin to understand that your happiness does not betray the people who struggled, that your peace does not mean you have forgotten where you came from, that thriving is not disloyalty to suffering, that you are allowed to walk out of the familiar room, not because the familiar room was wrong, but because there are other rooms, and you are allowed to live in them. You are not being naive when you let things be good. You are not being reckless. You are not tempting fate or forgetting to be careful. You are simply practicing something that nobody ever really taught you, that safety is allowed to be real, that joy does not automatically carry a tax, that you do not have to earn your place in your own life by suffering first. The blanket of anxiety that you wrap around yourself in good times, it was sewn with good intentions. It kept you warm when warmth was scarce. It made the cold bearable. But you have been carrying it into summer, and you wonder why you can never quite feel the sun. You don't have to throw it away. You don't have to be a different person. You just have to know what it is. And knowing, really knowing, not just intellectually but in the body, in the breath, that is already the beginning of something different. Some people live their whole lives without ever realizing that the waiting, the constant, low-level waiting for something to go wrong, is not their personality. It is a response, and responses, unlike personalities, can change. Not quickly, not perfectly, not without the occasional slide back into the old habit of bracing. But slowly, the nervous system can learn that it doesn't have to be on duty all the time, that you can put down the watch, that nothing bad is coming just because nothing bad is happening. You survived a lot to get to this good thing. Whatever this good thing is, the stability, the relationship, the quiet day, the small piece of peace you have carved out. You didn't stumble into it by accident. You made choices, one after another, often in the dark, often without knowing where they would lead. And they led here. You don't have to feel guilty for arriving. You don't have to earn the rest of it. You don't have to decode it or protect it or hold your breath inside it. You can just be in it, gently, imperfectly, without needing to understand every corner of it before you allow yourself to feel at home. Because maybe, just maybe, this is what home actually feels like. Not the absence of fear, not the certainty of safety, but the slow, quiet willingness to stop running from the good and to let yourself, finally, be okay.